I had a fantastic life in the UK, good money. There was one night where I had a dream that had their backs to me, and I was stood there and they were looking over Zimbabwe. And as I stepped forward, I could feel the warm air, the sun, and then they said, "You're home." Within 12 weeks' time, we'd sold everything. I was in Zimbabwe. All my family in the UK think I'm crazy. Hands down, Great Zimbabwe. I found out recently it's actually aligned to the solstices. The chevron pattern on the southeast side, each bird was a datum point, so it's actually a calendar.
You're not serious.
I know there's a project to restore Great Zimbabwe. I can help. I need to train people so that, because I can't fix it on my own.
How long do you think we have before it comes crumbling down?
My inbox is open to anyone. If anyone wants to have a go at me, say their opinion.
And what's the biggest misconception about Zim?
They don't realise how developed you are.
Do you think that the colonial project would have worked if like a bunch of Africans got on ships and they said, "Yo, let's go to the UK and do what they did this time"? You know, the funny thing is that like it's very interesting that I have you here because, you know, like when your team is down, right? Like I'm a Man U supporter, right? And my team is down. But I mean, you're an Arsenal's fan and your team is way down, man. When did you start supporting Arsenal?
So when I was born, my whole family's Arsenal season ticket holders from London. It was Arsenal or leave. There was no choice.
Serious?
Yeah, my family. There's Arsenal or go.
What do you think of what do you think of like VAR right now currently?
I do not like it.
Right? It's really compromising the game, right?
It's taken over the referees making decisions, and the referees aren't making decisions because they know they've got VAR. But if you slow something down,
and then sometimes they even make terrible decisions even after VAR, right?
So if I tackle you, because I play football, if I tackle you, it's a clean tackle. But if you slowed that down and change the angles, and you can make it look
like. And ever notice that Man City always gets like some very favorable decisions, right?
115 charges. I'm still waiting.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bold Exchange. Today I'm joined by someone who, when we were playing with stones and as kids, he took it a bit more serious. He's one of world-renowned stonemason, not a Freemason, a stonemason. Joby R.J. Wheatley. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Tell me, where does your journey start? Like, you know, like people grow up and say they want to be architects, they want to do this. Like at a young age, what drove the passion to say, I want to work with stones?
So Lego. When I was a child, I was obsessed with Lego. I was obsessed with building things. And then when I left school at 15, I went into bricklaying because that looked like bricks, Lego, same thing. And then I qualified with an MVQ3 distinction, and then bricklaying just become boring. And then I luckily got the opportunity to work with a master stonemason, and I never looked back. It's so much better than bricklaying. And so I knew from a young age I was going to be a builder. I would always build something, and now it's stones. And
take me through that experience, like you working with a master stonemason. You know, like you look at some of the, like, if you just research on history of the stonemasonry, it's some compelling stuff. It's amazing stuff. Like, what are some of the key lessons you learned from that?
It's very mentally intense. So when you're bricklaying, you let brick. You can think about what you're going to have for dinner. You can think about football.
It's very routine, yeah.
When you're doing stonework, you have to be fully focused on not only the stone you're looking at, the stone you're going to lay, but your next stone. What's this going to lead? It's like chess. What am I building towards? You can't just pick up a rock and I'll lay this and then go. You have to think physically intense, which I like. I like working, and yeah, it's just that's what I like. It's when you get to work from when you leave, it's non-stop, which I love.
And so, like, just walk me through the process. Like, it's you know, like when I was just doing some research on you, you built all the barrows in the UK.
Long barrows.
Long barrels, yeah. Tell me about that experience. And
we got commissioned to build the first long barrow in the UK in 5,000 years, which was quite a big project because they stopped building them. The Druids stopped building them, and then graveyards came in because they were built for burial tombs.
Yeah.
And then graveyards came in and they took over. Some man got in contact and Timdor and wanted to resurrect the ancient art of long barrows. And I didn't know what they were. I did stonework. I was good at stonework, but a long barrow is completely different from any sort of structure ever. And it was 7 months to 8 months of just hard geometry. The structure's different, the way you work's different. It's completely different concept, which was fascinating.
Okay, to some of our viewers out there, they're probably lost right now. Like, yes. What's a barrow? Like,
so a long barrow is a dome, a stone dome structure. No formers, no steel, no rebar, no anything. Stone dome. And then when you're finished with it, you cover it in soil, so it looks like a hill. You leave a door, and you have a front facade, and you leave a doorway in the middle with a passageway. So when you look from the back of it, you think it's a hill.
Oh, it's just like it's just like you are in like Lord of the Rings.
Yes,
with a
Hobbit's perch. Yes, exactly that. But not with so much circular. It's more rustic.
All right.
And then when you walk inside, you're transported into a completely different realm, so to speak. And they are very spiritual. When you finish them, they take on their own persona, and they're just fun. And I became obsessed, and now I've done 6.
And you know, like you mentioned something very fascinating, something that I'm really interested in. You say that they're very spiritual.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
So with stonework, when we were building the first one, things were happening. Like me and my master mason who was teaching me. On the first one, I was not an apprentice. I was still learning though. And then on the next 5, I was foreman. And things were happening on all of them, where you're like, that's too. There's something playing, like, let's call it the elder spirits, call it something, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And things would take place and we'd be like, that's too supposed to be. It's meant to happen. Like some stones we'd have problems with, and then we'd drop them and then they'd flip and they'd fall in the perfect place. And you'd be like, and you'd stand back like, that is exactly how it needs to be. And you're like, because it almost wants to build itself. And me and the master mason that taught me, we make a joke, we say they build themselves. They build themselves. We're just the tools. They build themselves.
And tell me, like, you know, because stones are not like you actually said earlier on, right? Like with bricks, you know that bricks come at a certain dimension and size.
Yes.
And, I mean, stones come in all shapes and sizes. And
exactly.
So how do you navigate that, and how do you?
You have to. That takes years of looking at a pile of stone and identifying what you need. It's practice. It is repetition. So I can look at a pile of stone and I'm like, oh, that one. I know exactly where that's going to go. Or I can see a stone within a stone. So if I've got a big stone, I'm not going to go, I'm going to lay that as it is. I'm going to go, if I hit this there, I'm going to find the stone that's hidden in the stone. And then that's going to become the stone I use. So you have to not look at it as it is. You have to look at it as you can make it. But then you have to also master the art of dressing the stone, hitting it with a hammer a lot of times, to get it to that point. So even if you can see what you want to do, you then have to have the skill to be able to do that. And there's no disc cutters. You can't send it to a mill at the quarry. It's a hammer and a chisel.
Just to get just one stone.
So if I was, at the moment, I'm sourcing my own stones.
All right.
Because I'm still trying to network to find people that can give me the stones the way I want. I phone quarries at the moment and they're saying, do you want 3/4 inch? Do you want granite dust? I'm like, no, I want your granite. And I'm the Great Zimbabwe, like the Great Zimbabwe stones. So I have to try and go to the quarries, sift through that fresh blast on my own to source the stones that I want, which they think I'm crazy. And then you just have to hit, either you take it, you're lucky, and the stone is as you want it, or you look at the stone, you think, oh, if I hit him here, bang, 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 okay, let me turn him, bang, 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 and he's too fat this end, and we average, me and my apprentice in the UK, we worked out we average 15,000 hits a day with a hammer on the stones.
Do you even work out?
No.
Like, that's enough workout, right?
I do a little bit of stretches in the morning to help my back. That's it. I stretch. I don't do any exercising. I don't need to. The building site is my gym. If you can go to the gym after a day's work, you haven't worked hard enough. Very simple. You should go home broken.
And what are some of the key elements, like what are some of the key lessons, life lessons that you've learned from just working with stone? Like, what are some of the lessons that you've learned, like from a mental standpoint?
Patience. So if a stone will do what a stone naturally wants to do. If a stone has a fault through the middle that you can't see, and you think, I want this stone to do this, and then you start hitting it, and you spend 5 minutes on it chiseling, and then all of a sudden, pah, it breaks. Instead of getting frustrated and going, you just go, okay, that's what meant to happen. Next, go again. Sometimes you'll dress a stone and you'll put it on and you'll stand back and you think you know what it wants to do, but it's not, and then don't force it. If I put a stone on the wall and I'm thinking, if I get that one thought, take it off, that's not where it wants to go again. Even though I've just spent 10, 15 minutes sourcing it, hitting it, picking it up, putting it back down, if it doesn't feel natural, it doesn't feel good, start again. It's patience and it's relentlessness is what I've learned.
What are some of your favorite stoneworks globally that you'd be like, oh, I wish I was part of that? And
Great Zimbabwe.
All right.
Hands down, Great Zimbabwe. I went there. When I went there, it was because I've now done the monuments and the ancient style. I have a lot of people go there from an academic point of view. They want to be archaeologists. They want to think about, I'm going there from a stonemason point of view. I'm respecting the people and I'm thinking, you lot worked.
Especially that entrance, I like that
so
entrance
hard.
where you even thinking, how did they
And I found out recently it's actually aligned to the solstices. The chevron pattern on the southeast side, where the chevrons take place, that is from the last chevron where you had the birds, the soapstone birds, from the left to the right, that is the winter solstice, the autumnal equinox, the summer solstice, and it works all the way through. Each bird was a datum point, so it was actually a calendar. It wasn't.
You're not serious?
Yes, it is a calendar, and they've done the measurements, because I've been researching on it as well, because if I come here I must learn. And they say, so if they stand on the main tower, or the one behind, when the sun rises from that bird stone, which they would, when they see the sun behind that stone, the alignment, winter solstice works its way around. Summer solstice. So it's actually a calendar as well, because that's how they would have told time. That's how they would have said, is it time to harvest? Is it time to plant? Is it going to start getting cold? Well, even though it doesn't really get cold.
What are some other fascinating facts that you found out about the Great Zimbabwe?
That it was also a trade route, and from the amount of people that would come here from where in the world as well. I thought it was going to be very just African, just Zimbabwean, which it was built by Zimbabweans. They've ruled that now. It is Zimbabweans. But the fact that they were having Asians and trading there, I thought, this was a centre point. This was a hub. This was actually like a world-renowned datum point of trade. And that, to me, thinking back that far, I'm thinking that's incredible. And to think what it would have been like, it would have been bustling with different cultures and just trading.
And, speaking of the Great Zimbabwe, tell me about the 1 million stone Zimbabwe stone project that you're working on currently.
Yes. The 1 million Zim stones project is, I want to try and lay 1 million stones in Zimbabwe. That's before I die, because I want to stay here now.
All right.
So I want to, whether it's new builds, new monuments, domes, structures, prayer, spiritual places, or entertainment, braai areas, but not a simple braai, like a very, very top-notch braai. Or whether it's on the monuments. I want to try and lay one. I want to lay more, but my minimum target is 1 million stones. And for every person that I train, I'm going to give them the target of, you now have to lay 1 million stones. So if I train 10 people, they now have to do 10 million stones. And if they then train 10 people each, that's 100. And then them 100 to 1,000. And then 1,000 to 10,000. Every person must train 10. This is how the maths works. 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 10. And then in the future, so hopefully when I'm on my deathbed, I can look and say, people say, Zimbabwe, the houses of stone. They're world leaders in stonework. They are the best. We'll be world renowned, not just famous within Zimbabwe. We will resurrect the house of stone. People will be coming here from all over the world to go into the prayer domes we've built. There'll be weddings in domes that can fit 100 people. And I've got the pictures, and it's frustrating because I've already done 6, and I know it can be done. And I know it's not actually that big of an undertaking. If I'm involved, it's quite simple. It's simple. It's hard, but we know what to do now.
All right.
I've already practiced in the UK. Now it's time to come here, and I believe that's why I'm here.
Speaking of the Great Zimbabwe, right? have you, like, because there are parts where you see, you know, like the getting a bit dilapidated and stuff like that, right? Have you ever tried to then engage and say, yo, I can work and repair this? How's that conversation going?
I know that there's a project going on at the moment to restore Great Zimbabwe.
All right.
They're talking. I have done my best to communicate with the people involved. Unfortunately, I had no response.
All right.
And it's frustrating for me because I know I can help.
All right.
And I want to help. But when I don't get any communication back, I can't help. So I could go there. But the other thing is, I'm only one man. So that's where the 1 million Zim stones came in.
All right.
Because they reckon there's 1 million stones in Great Zimbabwe. In the actual, they've calculated there's 1 million.
Serious?
Yeah, they calculate there's 1 million.
The
actual main centre section of the tower, they estimate it's 1 million stones. And I found that out after I came up with the 1 million Zim stones project. So to me, the two are now entwined. So I need to train people so that, because I can't fix it on my own. It's impossible.
All right.
And I've spoke to the National Museum of Monuments Zimbabwe. I had a meeting with their chief curator, and he specified that they are either having to outsource the labour, which to me is a shame. To me, I don't even like the fact that I'm, as a British person, having to offer help. Zimbabwe should fix. It should be Zimbabwe.
How long do you think we have with, like, before it comes crumbling down? If we don't,
it's not falling down anytime soon, right. But it will get to a point of the project will be so much more
difficult
than it will be. If you don't start now, it's only going to get harder.
All right.
You have to. Every day we delay,
it's like another day lost.
It's another day lost that we could fix it. And I think that I would love for it to be fixed by Zimbabweans. To me, that's very important. I don't like the fact that because I get some pushback on social media. Why are you coming here? Why are you trying to?
No, we'll get into that.
So yeah, I think it should be fixed by Zimbabweans, and I think you've got, without putting a date on it, it's not falling down tomorrow.
No, yeah.
But for every day we waste time is a day wasted.
There might be a generation that might not even experience the beauty of it and appreciate
it. Or because it won't be safe.
All right.
The main towers, that's solid. That's not falling. But the sections that will be lost. And that's a shame. Because, like I said, there's people that spend a lot of time working on them sections. They probably would have spent years and training, and just disrespectful to them to let it fall into disrepair.
True. Yeah, true. And you know, like the most mind blowing thing about the Great Zimbabwe is that like what you're saying, how the geometry behind it and everything, and at the time that they were actually doing it, it's yes. Like it's impeccable that they did that. So tell me, when was the first time? Sorry, my bad.
Bless you.
When was the first time you actually visited Zim?
I came here on my honeymoon. I married a Zimbabwean.
Oh, nice.
And my honeymoon was in Zimbabwe.
You know, like they always say that if you need to like learn a culture or learn a language, you all right. When was this?
This would have been, I've been married. You put me on the spot now.
No, I'm just saying, like, when the year roughly?
Yeah, I've been married 13 years, so it would have been about 12. I've been married longer than that. I hope my wife's not watching.
All right.
I've been married 15 years, I think, so it would have been 15 years ago.
I
went to Victoria Falls and Lake Kariba for my honeymoon, and Harare, because my family are Harare. So Harare, Vic Falls, Kariba, and it was brilliant.
It was beautiful.
It was a mind, because I always had an image in my head of what Zimbabwe was.
Tell me about that. Like at the time, because 15 years ago would have been roundabout
2009.
2009, and like you know, we were not in the best of shape at that time, like globally in global relations. I mean, what was Zimbabwe looking like from the outside? I was here. Well, I wasn't here, so I know what was happening. I mean, from the outside, you probably thought
I was getting information from my family, and I was thinking to myself, how could you live there? Like, it seems. And then when I came for the honeymoon, I I was like, this is beautiful. Because we only get shown so much when you're in Britain. The Zimbabwe you got shown on the media, when you have to come. If you want to experience something, you have to see it in person. You're always going to get a watered down version or a certain perspective version. Yeah. And when I came, I was like, oh no. And then when I went back to my friends, they were like, what was it like? I was like, it's brilliant. I said, it's fantastic. As for me, but I was on holiday.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
it was fantastic because I did the tourism things. I went to the Victoria Falls. I went to Spurwing Island on Kariba, the booze cruise on the Zambezi. It was fun. So it was brilliant. But then, obviously, for people living here, it's a different thing. I remember Borrowdale Road. I remember driving down Borrowdale Road before it was like nice, and thinking potholes, and there was like combis coming the other way, and I got scared to drive. But now I think I love it.
And was there any resemblance of like the UK when it comes to the architecture that you'll see in this side?
Some of the houses were, because the houses were Rhodesian. There are some, when I can still see them now, the Rhodesian style houses are very similar to the older English houses. Yeah. They're very quintessential English. But now you're modernising towards modern architecture, so not as much, because you've got your own stamp on your architecture here, which I find you've got the concrete pillars coming out and coming down, and you've got the bigger, wider houses. You've got more land, so the houses in the UK are a lot smaller. There's a house directly next door. And so here you've got one single house surrounded by land. So it's different architecture that way. But the Rhodesian side, the Rhodesian buildings, I can tell that's Rhodesian because I could tell it's got the English style.
And at that time, how does the thought of, and how does the idea of you then moving to Zim, like, how does that conversation go with your family and with your new family? Like, how does that conversation go? And how long did it take you to say, you know what, I know a little piece of paradise in Africa there?
Well, it wasn't actually, because it was a dream. I had a dream. It wasn't a plan.
All right.
So I had a fantastic life in the UK. Very well respected stonemason. Work, not a problem. Good money. And there was one night where I had a dream where it was my father-in-law and his brother-in-law, and they had their backs to me, and I was stood there and they were looking over Zimbabwe. And I was stood there and I was looking, and then they turned around and they said, come. So I took a step forward, and as I stepped forward, I could feel the warm air, the sun, I could smell, and then they said, you're home. And I shot up, and I went downstairs to my wife. I said, I think we need to move to Zimbabwe. And she was like, and she'd been waiting for me to say it. She'd been wanting to move home, and she'd been waiting for me to make the decision. Within 12 weeks' time, we'd sold everything. I was in Zimbabwe. It was very, very powerful. So that's why I generally feel I'm meant to be here. And I didn't know that Zimbabwe was called the Houses of Stone. I came here, I'd been here like 4 months. And I was like, there's no stonework. I can't get any stonework. Your stonework's cladding. I was like, why do you not do any proper stonework anymore? And then someone said, it's funny because we are called the Houses of Stone. And I was like, what? I was like, you're the Houses of Stone? I'm like, yeah. I was like, and then it hit me like, I'm supposed to be here.
This is so poetic, man. And 12 weeks later, you're in Zim.
I sold everything. All my family in the UK think I'm crazy. My colleagues in the UK think I'm crazy. They said, what work have you got? I was like, I'll make a plan. I'll have work when I get there. My father-in-law could give me a job for his company, and it was not what I do. So I said, no, I've got to double down on this 1 million Zim stones, because A, I'm not going back, I'm not giving up, and B, I don't want them to think, you failed. We were right, you were wrong, because I'm not going to be wrong. It's going to work. I've seen the vision. I've had the vision. I know what is going to happen. I just need someone to say, go, build.
And 12 weeks later, you're in Zim.
We're in Zim.
What's your first impression? What's going on through your head?
Scared.
Scared. Tell me about those earlier experiences.
I think the first 4 months I was in shock. But I think it was just because I had no planned, I hadn't prepared mentally for Zimbabwe. It was, okay, let's sell everything, get everything sold, put the flyers, let's do this, cancel school. It was so quick.
What was shocking you? I'm really curious, what was shocking you at that time?
And then when I come here, I was like, this is it. Like, you've done it. You've got. So I think the first 4 months was me just actually
taking it all in.
Yeah, just actually taking a moment to go, this is it. Calm down. You're here. But then I had the combis, And I'm driving, the combis are flying past and they're doing this. And I was like, but now you learn, you adjust. And now I know, give them space, let them go past. Just, and it's such a different world. And when people say to me in the UK, what's it like? I'm like, it's a different planet.
No,
it's beautiful.
I always tell people that like, I always define it and say that there is so much beauty in the chaos.
There is. And Zimbabweans as well. Like yesterday, when I got clamped,
All right.
I was speaking to this young gentleman, and we were having a great conversation. Then I was like, okay, see you later. And then I got clamped. I was like, oh, God, can I have help? And he took me to the building that I needed to go to, took me to the floor, stood in line with me, helped me. I was talking to the people. Everyone's friendly. Everyone's nice. Do you know what I mean? You're so welcoming as Zimbabweans. You're so humble. You're great hosts. That's what I love. In the UK, if I'd have said to someone, "Hey mate, you're clamped," they'd probably took a picture of me. Yeah, you've been clamped. Shame. Here, yes, I'll help you. Come, let's go. And he stopped what he was doing to come and help me. That's Zimbabwe. The Zimbabweans are beautiful people. You can't explain it. I don't think people understand until they come here and experience it. There's no words. You have to experience it. You are very welcoming hosts.
And then like tell me about. I'm always curious about this, right? I personally don't really like a lot of, like, I think the only thing I like about the British food is like their breakfast. You guys' breakfast slaps, but like apart from that, I'm not sure why you guys want to boil a lot of stuff though and a lot of soup. Tell me, what was your experience like, just experiencing like the Zim diet? Because I know are you on a carnivore diet or vegan?
I'm not on the Fat Belly project from the King J's on Team Follow.
All right. What diet are you on, and like what is your experience of the Zimbabwean diet, and just integrating all that whole culture and that whole.
So I didn't like spicy food when I moved here. I was very bland, very plain. Didn't like spicy. Now I cannot get enough spice. I've got cheeky chilies. I've got the fire chief. I'm putting it all in. I love it. I got given Sudsa and Roadrunner for when I went there, and I went to get a knife and fork, and they're like, "What are you doing?"
Those are like the early days.
The early days, and they're like, "What are you doing?" But now, so braaiing, I'd never say barbecue anymore. If my friends in the UK say, "You having a barbecue?" I say, "No, I'm having a braai."
All right.
Please don't use that word. That's a rude word. So braaiing, I've had to learn to braai. I'm a braai master now. Well, I'm working towards being a braai master.
I love high Phillies, the beef and the veggies that you mix it together.
Oh, it's fantastic. And so you got the Sudsa, is it the mini ball? What's it called?
Yeah.
Give me a bowl of that on its own. Just don't give me the Sudsa, don't give me the Roadrunner, just give me a bowl.
You guys don't have that in the UK?
No.
Oh, you guys boil everything?
So like I say, our English breakfast slaps.
Yeah, no, the English breakfast
slaps.
And also I think probably it's because from the colonial era, I think English breakfast was mostly indoctrinated in us, right? A quick question, right? Speaking of, like you said something very fascinating and interesting, that like there's been not pushback per se, but like when people say that, how come you do it, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that the colonial project would have worked if like a bunch of Africans got on ships and they said, "Yo, let's go to the UK and do what they did this side"?
No, but I'm expecting pushback. I understand pushback.
All right.
I get it. I understand the reputation of the British. I understand. I know when I come here, people think I'm like, oh, he's privileged or something like that. I grew up in Northampton, NM3, Eastern District. It's not a nice place. It's not a great area. So I'm not one of these privileged ones. And I understand that when people message me, because if I tweet something, I'll get 95% fantastic comments. Everyone's welcoming. Everyone's like, I don't get that 5%.
And there's that one.
That one tweet. And the thing is with this is, I focus on that one tweet, and I've been told, people said ignore them.
No, it's like that. Even with this show, when like, if we get glowing reviews for the comments, right? There's that one guy who was like, I think this was
and that's what you focus on.
So now I just stopped reading comments.
Yeah.
So guys, I don't read your comments. So yeah.
But I did a thing. So my inbox is open.
All right.
If you tweet, my inbox is open to anyone. If anyone wants to have a go at me or say their opinion, you are entitled to your opinion. I respect your opinion. If you want to say something to me, that's fine. Let's have a discussion. I had one person and he was just being silly. And everyone was jumping to my defense saying, listen, well, why are you talking like that. You're talking nonsense. He was saying, I'm going to take credit for building Great Zimbabwe. and I just thought to myself, I've already built 6 monuments already. I don't need the credit. I've got
trademark.
Yeah, so I said to him, and I see on his profile it was Harare. So I said to him, my friend, I'll go to the deli in Borrowdale, Sam Levy. I'll go to the deli. I will buy you a chai latte, and I will sit with you.
And then I'll explain.
And I'll talk to you. I'm not gonna have an argument back and forth on social media. I'm not gonna get dragged in, but DM me, and I followed him back. I said, listen, my DMs are open. If you want to talk to me, I'm open. Anyone can DM me. My Instagram, my TikTok, I had to join TikTok, Twitter, my email, my LinkedIn, I'm open. I don't ignore any comments.
Just for people who might want to follow you or who might want to even like contribute to the project that you're doing, can you just give them your socials?
Joby Wheatley. It's on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm not going to be doing any dances. Don't think I'm going to be doing any dance. I post because I do my drawings. I do my own drawings at night, and then I put an inspirational sound over the top of it to try to G people up. And so it's basically me doing stonework, me doing drawings, and if you want to comment. If you want to talk, I'll have a conversation. Even if you just want to ask me, I've had people that just want to ask me a question about a project that they're doing. It's not a benefit to me whatsoever. I'm not going to make any money out of it. And I was saying, yes, of course. Show me pictures. Let me help. Show me what you want to do. Okay, and I'll talk to you. I'm not necessarily just here for the money. I'm here to help.
You know the interesting thing about you is that you've embraced the Zimbabwean culture in such an amazing way, and your totem is Shumba, right? By the way,
Lion.
Yeah. Tell me about that, and tell me about like just the beauty of the culture. Because since you sound like a very the fact that you're in Zim currently, that it was a spiritual journey, like you told me, right? Like, so tell me about your experience of the Zimbabwean culture and the Zimbabwean spirituality.
I like the fact that everyone has that spiritual aspect. I like that. I embrace that. And I think everyone acts with that in mind, which I love. The totem, my lion, obviously I've got lion tattoos on my leg. I've got 3 lions tattooed on my leg, and I'm a lion. I don't know what my wife is. She's not. I don't know what she is.
All right.
I don't know. But it's the Zimbabwean culture, the spirituality. I love it, because if someone's in need, yes, we'll help you. Or if I break down, they go. At first, you break down and you think they're coming and you're going to get robbed. They're coming to help you. And as long as you're respectful back, if you act privileged and if you act entitled, which I've met some people that do, that look like me, and I just think to myself, you don't get it. You don't understand. Just be humble and be respectful to everyone, even the people on the side of the road selling. Yes, sir, how are you? It's that respect goes both ways. And I think that's very important. And that's where the spirituality comes into it, because he's always watching.
You know, like coming on the back of you coming to Zim as a tourist, enjoying your honeymoon 17, 15 years ago, and, you know, going on the cruise ships, the safaris, and then now as a resident, like, have you visited those places back from a different perspective, and like,
yes,
how is it looking now? And like,
it's, because I know when you're a tourist, you're in so much, let me take a picture. Everything's like inspired. But so I've seen the zebras when they cross the road. I stopped taking the picture, going, it's a zebra crossing, and so it's just, I'll let the zebras cross the road. And it's that sort of different perspective of, now I'm a resident, when I'm looking at, it's not saying that the beauty's worn off, because the beauty of Zimbabwe can never wear off, it's too beautiful. But it's having that different, not tourism, but when my family come here and you do the tourism things, you then go, and you kind of you feed off their energy.
And then you're like, but this is
sunrise. So when we get the monkeys in the garden nicking all the dog, trying to nick the dog food or trying to nick the bird feeders, my mum's like, when I was first there, I was like, look, like filming, showing my friends, and now I'm like, move. Do you know what I mean? Because they're shippering. It just kind of not wears off, but you get used to it, and the things that used to amaze you, now they're they're normal, but they're still beautiful, but they're no longer, wow. You're not that guy in that shock factor.
So your family has now accepted that you're not crazy, right, for moving to Zimbabwe?
No, they still think I'm crazy. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. They almost, because obviously it's not picked up yet. The 1 million Zim stones, it's not working yet. It will, and I know it will, but they still think, how much longer are you going to give this, and how much longer until you realise maybe it won't work? And I'm like, I'm not giving up. It doesn't. I don't give up. I'm a lion.
And what's the biggest misconception about Zim out there?
How developed you are. They don't realise how developed you are. It's very simple. They think you still live in huts and the capital city. They're like, oh, your roads are nice. It's like, well, yeah. Some of them aren't, but they're like, yes. And my friends say, oh, do you get the football? I say, yeah, I get more football than you do. I get more football. Oh, and I say, I'll show them I've got KFC. Oh, you got KFC? I'm like, yes, we've got KFC. Yes, we've got Nando's. Yes, we've got chicken in. I like chicken. I prefer chicken in actually to KFC. But I just think they have that, not ignorance, because they can only see what they've been shown.
All right.
So I don't know if they're being shown that we're less developed than we are to make them feel superior or to make us look less superior. But I'm telling you, Zimbabwe is developing. And I can see it because of my perception when I came here as a tourist to now when I've moved, even in the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of development in the last 2 years, I mean, West Prop Holdings, the work that they're doing, it's fantastic. But this is, I think, where I'm going to struggle is because everyone's trying to modernise Zimbabwe. And as they should try to modernise Zimbabwe. But I'm trying to go,
yeah, like
I'll bring that back.
You know, like when I was actually researching and just like, looking at like different stonemasonry, right? Like I was looking at these amazing fireplaces, this amazing, and then I'm like, and they're so luxurious, but in this olden feel that's like amazing. What are some of the amazing jobs that you're getting hired for to do in Zimbabwe? Like, what are you?
One of the projects, I did a house build, which was very nice. It was very different because they wanted one style, and I said no. Just trust me, it'll go this way. And I got given creative freedom in a job just outside of Rua, in a lodge. They had the copies, the big rocks, and they just said, listen, go with the landscape. And it was so nice for me, because the client said to me, I've seen your work, I'm going to give you a budget, buy the stones you want. So I went to the quarry and sourced the stones. He says, but you do what you think. And that was fantastic because I had to incorporate the landscape. I can't go there saying, right, this is what I'm going to do and draw it, and then go there and try and enforce that drawing onto the landscape. I had to go there, listen to the landscape, walk around the landscape, interact with it, and then go with the landscape. You have to build as you're going. You can't go, right, these are the drawings, build that. It doesn't work.
Your work sounds very spiritual.
Honestly, it really is.
Like the way you're saying that I had to listen to the landscape.
Yeah, you do, and that's one thing with Zimbabwe is if you actually stop and listen to the landscape, it will talk to you. It will speak to you. You've just got to listen. If you're sitting there and you're not listening, you've got your earphones in, and you're on your phone scrolling, you have to just take a moment and listen.
Like the way you said you have to listen to the landscape, right? I bet you your family will be like, "Nah, this guy is really, this guy is really."
People
crazy.
think I'm crazy, and that's fine. I understand that I sound crazy sometimes, but it's just because I know what I'm doing, and I know that my approach works, and I know that it works so well because they build themselves. The landscape will build itself if you listen to it. Yes, you can get an architect to come in with a drawing, you can bulldoze the land flat, and you can build what you want. That's fine, but I don't do that. I go to natural places and I listen and I try to incorporate the landscape, and my work what's the word? Help the landscape.
Yeah.
It must complement it.
Yeah,
It must complement. It must feel like it's been here naturally. It must feel like it was built. And the lads that were working with me were some of his workers, and they said, it looks like this has been here for years, and it was built by the elders. And
it mustn't be an ISO, eh?
No,
like there's this one building, like just next to the national sports stadium there. There's this one building, it's all greenery, and then someone just decided to paint that whole building pink, eh? But and then I'm like,
but it would be nice if the monument, if I do get commissioned to build, because some of my drawings, I'll show you them outside, but some of my drawings are going to push the boundaries of what you can do. I'm not playing it safe. I don't play safe. I'll push levels, and I want the people that I teach with my academy, when I get one, will be inspired and they will push the boundaries. And then eventually my work will look basic because they've learned to push the boundaries as well. And we just keep pushing and pushing. And then we can have a competition between what all these modern architects are doing in Zimbabwe, fantastic work, and what we're doing, the ancient elder style and the modern style, and we can have both. We don't have to move away from one to go forward. We can do both. We can bring both forward.
And I really like how you defended Zim and you rooted for us and everything. So where can people what can people hire you to do in? We've got really wealthy people who watch the show. Okay. So what else can you complement in just in the construction?
I've got designs. Because I did have a few job offers for site managers.
All right.
I'm not taking them. I haven't got any work at the minute. So if you want me to work, I'll work. I haven't got any work. I'm preparing for when I do get work. And I'm not going to take on a job just to take on a job.
What work are you looking for currently?
I want to be commissioned to build a dome.
All right.
Let me build a dome. A dome, I've got designs that can hold me and you right now encompassed in stone. With this stone dome, we can sit and we can pray. Or you can have 10 people, they can sit and they can eat and they can join and then they can move the table out and then they can pray. Or they can entertain, they can play music. I've got a dome design that can hold 100 people for a wedding. You can imagine 100 people in a dome singing. Imagine that. And you've got the pastor at the front or the prophet at the front. And then I've got the wedding design where they come down. Just let me do what I can do. And I'm telling you, I can do fire pits, dry areas. The dome structures can also develop as wine cellars. They keep an ambient temperature. You're limited by your imagination, and my imagination is very good. But I need someone to say, there's a piece of land, and I'll say, what do you want? Do you want spiritual? Do you want entertainment? Do you want tourism? Do you want private? Do you want meditation? Let me know what you want, and I'll go away and I'll design it, and then I'll come and I'll build it. And I'm telling you, if you look at some of my work, this is what's frustrating. My work's fantastic. And I know what I can do. And people say, oh, but we have people that can do that already. No, you don't. No, you don't, because my work's one-off in the UK. With my team's work as well. I'm not taking people that I work with in the UK. I got taught by the master mason, and then we trained 4 people. So it's a very close group, and we're like a family. And that's what it is. You must train as well. So I want to train on top of working. But the designs are...
I've seen your design. I've seen your design.
I've done one last night actually, because every night I design. I've done one last night, and it's a central dome that you can fit. We could all see in here in this dome, and then it spirals out, so you can't see the dome. So you have to walk around, and I'm going to have candles in the wall. So as you almost make your way in to the dome, so it's almost like a spiritual path as the way in, and that could also be for tourism. I've got one design which is my masterpiece. It is a 6-tier system, 18 meters wide, with a rooftop garden, a rooftop bar area, it's tapering down to the ground level with 2 massive domes in between. And in the main dome, on top is the fire pit. So you are sitting with a 360 view out onto your landscape, round a fire, while your friends could be beneath you in the dome. And you work your way down. It's crazy. I'm pushing the boundaries of what you can do. I'm not playing it safe. I think the houses of stone can't play it safe.
True.
If we want the reputation back of the houses of stone, we've got to push boundaries. That's what I want to do. But I need people to say go.
And what inspires these designs?
Geometry, sacred geometry, nature. You must always, you can't go against mathematics. You cannot go against mathematics. Sacred geometry is very important. And nature. And what they want. If someone says to me, so I've done one design, it's a fire pit, dry area, dance floor, bar, stone table. You can have a whole party. If you're the hostess with the mostess, or you're the dry area, this is people who want to come to your house to party, because this area it's got everything. But if you're someone, I just want a small dome for me and my wife to pray. Perfect. Then I'll do that.
What are some of the amazing landscapes that you've been to across Africa? I think the pyramids are quite amazing, though. Eh?
The pyramids are crazy. The pyramids are crazy.
The stonework there, right? That's wild.
That's too mind blowing. That is too mind blowing. But then it's all over the world as well, and they all focus on the stars. If you look at even in America, you've got something called the Serpent's Mound, and it's like the Great Zimbabwe, the winter solstice, the equinox, the summer solstice, and they're all a calendar, because that's how they would have told time. I know, and I can do this. Our designs in the UK, the first one we built was aligned. The central passageway was aligned to the winter solstice sunrise. So on the winter solstice, if you get there, you can watch the sun. It rises and illuminates the passageway, and it is incredible. Then we found out to do that, you have to go there very early in the winter, because it's very cold.
Yeah.
Chances are in England it's cloudy. So with the third design we did the summer solstice sunset, because it's warmer, it's less chance of being cloudy, and you can enjoy it. So I would also like to do a design. It doesn't have to be a solstice. So if I did a design for you, I said, when's your birthday? You say, my birthday is this day. I said, right, let's come to your house on your birthday, and I'll find out where the sun sets. And then I'll put a stone, and then I'll do a moon gate, and then I'll work back, and you're having a bra on your birthday, and you can go watch the sunset behind that stone, and you'll go, and then that is what I want to do. The levels we've got to push the levels. We've got to become artists and master masons.
And like, speaking of, what are some of the, like, over the years, what are some of the Zimbabwean creatives that have inspired you as well? Like, just for after
yesterday I went to the National Gallery
for
the first time. That was fantastic. See some of the stonework there, some of the carvings. I was just walking around. You've got the animals, you've got the ladies' heads, you've got big chairs, you've got some abstract pieces which you can stare at and just like make your own perceptive of what it means. But you've got some seriously skilled carvers. Seriously skilled.
Like the reason why I asked the question about like the Great Zimbabwe, I wanted to find out, not the Great Zimbabwe, the pyramids. I wanted to find out what you think happened and how many people it took to build, because, and like,
I can't even calculate.
Like, how do you think they did it? I always fail to actually. I don't believe it was those were slaves doing that.
No, they were masters. They wouldn't have been slaves. They would have been,
yeah.
Or if they were slaves, they were trained to be master slaves. You can't
do with that accuracy,
do
right?
That level without being a master, and every single one of them would have had to be a master. Which is, if I can train 10 to train 10 to train 10 to train 10, you'll have that many masters. But they must have started hundreds of years before to get that many people trained up to do that many stones, and each person would have had a different job. You would have had a quarrier, you would have had a transport, you would have had a master stone transporter.
Yeah, because it's the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have all been dressing the stones. Some of them would have been an expert in transporting the stones. The logistics involved. And this is what I'm saying with Great Zimbabwe. People look at archaeologists and academics, they look at it from an academic perspective. I'm going there thinking, okay, so they would have done this from a builder's perspective. So, and the pyramids, from a builder's perspective, even though I know a fair bit about construction, blows my mind. You can't, it is phenomenal how they did it. And it's aligned to the stars, the Orion's belt, and it's to a scale of the Earth's equator, and the top and bottom of the Earth is the scale, and I think it's on a scale of 1 to 72, which is the natural wobble of the planet.
It's like
they knew too much. They knew too much. They were geniuses. They were geniuses.
And we haven't even how they cut that stone.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Like just the stone in itself, like the way they cut it.
The big granite in the king's tomb, the king's chamber. How did you? How?
But do you
like Stonehenge? I've been to Stonehenge. I got access to Stonehenge when I was working on the first long barrow in the UK. And until you stand next to one of the stones of Stonehenge, if this is the stone, I'm this big, and they still go 1/3 of the stone goes into the ground. Until you actually stand there, because you can see pictures, and it looks nice on a postcard or on a fridge magnet, but until you stand next to them stones, you go, how did you do this? There's no, you can only theorize how they did it. No one would ever find out, because it's just too crazy.
Do you actually feel like, because for me as well, like that then begs the question to say, they went through all that just to bury people?
No, it's not. The pyramids wasn't for burial. The pyramids it's aligned to the sun and the lunar. I don't think they found any actual tombs
in there, right?
The kingdom, what's it called? The Valley of the Kings is where they buried them. The pyramids aren't actually tombs.
So what are they trying to do in there?
I don't know. I think maybe they were just showing off.
True.
Maybe they just thought, we know what we can do. Let's show off.
So, tell me, what are the three things that you really love about this country?
The people. Firstly, you're fantastic and you're funny, and you always die. Even when you're not having a great life, you're still happy. You find the joy in things, and you're kind. The weather, okay, because I'm coming from England, I've worked in snow, I've worked in sub-zero temperatures. So the fact that I can wake up every day and be warm is, to me, it's like summer. I know in the winter, when I'll go to site, people say, it's Chandor. And I'm like, it's not cold. I'm like, this is not cold. This is like summer to me. So that's fantastic. And just the culture, just the culture of Zimbabwe in total, I think is great. But I don't like Chibuku.
Serious?
I don't like Chibuku.
What do you like?
I don't like Chibuku. I don't drink.
Like,
I don't drink, but I don't like Chibuku. They tried to get me. They tried to give me some as a joke when I came here, and I think.
So you don't drink maheo?
I don't drink alcohol.
No, maheo.
Oh no, I tried that as well. No, I can't. I tried. They all laughed. They were like, "Try this," and I was like, "Okay." No, necked it. What's that? they said this will make you Simba. They said this will make you'll go all day. I was like, I'm good. I'll just have my water. I'm good.
You've never drank in your life?
No, I don't drink anymore.
Same. Yeah,
I've stopped drinking.
I think probably by the time this episode is out, I'll probably be 3 years sober.
That's good. Yeah, so I'm sober as well, and it's just because I've got so much to focus on.
You don't want to waste mornings.
I need a clear head.
Yeah.
I need a clear head. So I've not been drinking since I came back from the UK last time. I'm sober, and since then it's working. And I've had to give up energy drinks as well. I was a 2 litres of energy drink a day man.
You're not serious?
Yeah.
So now you're doing 4 coffees now?
Yeah, I do coffees now. But there's no sugar in them. I used to do 4 cans of your Switch, your Switch lemon dry. 4 cans of the big cans a day, minimum. So my wife said, and since I've stopped now I'm doing a health diet, I only eat, if it doesn't fall off a tree, come out the ground, or you kill it, I don't eat it. If it's not water or coffee, I don't drink it. And since then, it's really good. So sobriety is the way forward.
What's your favorite, or what's your proudest work that you've done out there? Like what work are you really? Yeah.
My most proudest would be the first long barrow, because we didn't have experience when we were building it, and it is phenomenal, and there's magic there. There's something there. There's definitely.
Do you think that's the magic that sent you to Zim?
I think that might have been the test of can you. But if you said to me, as a stonemason, skill-wise, what is your favourite one? I'd say the tulip. Have you seen the tulip dome that I do, where it's this outer dome coming in and a central piece coming out, and it creates that's the skill.
Is it the one that's on your?
It's on my pin. It's on my pinned tweet.
Yeah.
So if you go on my pinned tweet, you'll see it's the one that comes up and out, because it's just, as soon as you see it, it hits you, and it's really, and you can get the sun just right as well. That's, for me, skill-wise, is my favourite, but I think the first long barrow. But when I built in Zimbabwe, when I finished if I can do the 6-tier one, my masterpiece, if I can do that, hands down, that'll destroy everything I built in the UK, hands down.
And have you, you big on passing down knowledge to other people?
Yes.
Have you ever considered building a stonemasonry academy?
That's what I want to do. That is my dream. 1 million Zim stones. I want to have the 1 million Zim stones School of Excellence, where I can offer level 1, 2, and 3. So if someone says, "Listen, I don't care about monuments. I don't care about Great Zimbabwe. I just want to learn the basics of stones. So I can go back to Binga and I can do some walls." Fine. I'll train you up. You can learn. If someone says, "No, I want your vision," you will become level 3 master. Only the level 3s will be allowed to work on the ruins. But then also, I need to get the people who can give me the authority to give certification. Because I can tell you're a good stonemason, and I can say you can go and you can earn money, but I can't give you a stamp yet. I need someone to say, "Yep, you are good enough to sign people off, and you can give them certification." So I'm just trying to speak to the universities, suppose the directors of the galleries, just to say, where are your schools? Can I have the authority to do that? And then I can train people. Because training it has to be a generational talent. I can't say no. I'm going to do it all myself, and I'm going to take all the credit, because then what if I die tomorrow?
Speaking of you dying tomorrow, right?
And it's Friday the 13th as well.
It's Friday the 18th. I was saying, like, so you, what do you want your legacy to look like after all is said and done?
My vision, right? So I have another vision of my funeral, and it's my family are there, and they're putting me in the ground, and then all these people just turn up, and it's all the people I've trained, and it's the people that they've trained, and it's the people that they've trained, and they just give me a little. That to me would mean so much. That's fantastic. So just everyone to come and just go, you did well. And I says, what's it, Mdara? They say, well done, Mdara. And then I go, and then I'm off, and then I can go to heaven and I can do stonework in heaven, because I'm not stopping doing stone. Even when I die, I'll still do stonework. I'll build it in heaven.
I mean, the work that you do is very important.
Yes.
I respect it. Like I'm in awe of your craft and everything. And thank you. You're doing something that really matters and that will stay on for generations and generations. And thank you for taking time to sit with us here today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Guys, if you're offended by this episode, we like it. If you're inspired by this episode, even better. This has been The Bold Exchange.